On 7's Gold Coast News, Operation Cleanup, trees lopped at local schools as council crews head out to the 650 Gold Coast streets impacted by the Jewel disaster. A heartbreaking homecoming, a family returns from holiday to this inside their Pacific Pines property. The mega mission to fix Topgolf, why it won't reopen for weeks. And spraying begins as part of a major Mozzie blitz.
Live from the Gold Coast, 7 News with Steve Titmus.
Good evening, everyone, and thanks very much for joining us. Operation Cleanup is now well underway. The Gold Coast recovery efforts have shifted gear, with council set to begin a mega mission to clear debris. More than 650 streets across the city have been impacted by the Jewel disaster.
Toppling timber, joining the mega piles already scattered across the city's north.
We've got half a jacaranda on the back veranda and 2 gum trees here.
Cutting up what's come down and clearing trees still causing trouble. The Gold Coast cleanup operation is well underway.
Operation Cleanup is now in full swing.
From next week, curbside collection will ramp up. Council crews set to sift through our hardest hit suburbs, clearing mega amounts of green waste and storm debris.
There are going to be squads coming through and hitting these streets.
We know that if we don't get this right, we will wind up with a lot of people lighting fires, which is something that we absolutely urge people to not do.
A web page will be launched allowing locals to track council's cleanup. Residents can request a skip bin be delivered to their street, while load limits have been scrapped at the city's waste centres.
For vulnerable members of the community who don't have the capacity or capability to be moving their debris to the front curb, we will have a grant program where they will be able to engage a third-party contractor to come in and do that work.
At least 650 streets have been impacted, that number likely to grow.
We estimate it's going to be 750,000 truckloads of movement to move all these wastes, so it's quite phenomenal.
Removing the fallout from back-to-back weather disasters and restoring some small sense of normality.
We have members of our community who have been annihilated. Their property obliterated. No Gold Coaster is going to be forgotten.
The Army also fast-tracking the recovery, today tackling the mess at Tamborine Mountain. An extra 20 troops have arrived from Brisbane. The Mayor says more backup may be required.
We'll leave for another 2 days to see how we're going. If it's required to request for extension, we'll be asking for it.
To keep the momentum moving. Liam Bland, 7 Gold Coast News.
Now to Rachel Baxter, and many businesses in Mount Tamborine remain without power tonight.
Good evening, Steve. Yeah, that's right. Power remains a real issue here at Mount Tamborine. We're at Gallery Walk, which is a popular tourist spot here. The businesses on the right-hand side of me gained power today. The businesses, however, across the road on my left still remain without it. One restaurant owner told me today that they have been told that they may be without power until at least next Tuesday, which is 2 weeks, or more than 2 weeks actually, than that mini tornado ripped through the hinterland here. In some good news, there were some storms predicted today which would have hindered those cleanup efforts, but thankfully all we have seen so far, Steve, are some light showers.
OK, Rachel Baxter there at Mount Tamborine with the latest. It was a heartbreaking homecoming. A Pacific Pines family has returned from holidays to their home in ruins. The Craig's roof was ripped off, destroying almost everything inside. Now they're picking up the pieces.
Within these walls is where Dimity and Michael Craig built a life for their family. But on Christmas, it all came crashing down.
Can't even begin to say. I've got no words. None.
Their Pacific Pines home torn apart by the tornado, the roof ripped off, flung onto their neighbour's house while the family was on holiday.
Splashing back, Chester.
Today, they returned home.
Just seeing the roof off just broke me. There's nothing more painful than what you've worked for being taken away in seconds.
Downstairs, a mouldy mess.
The second wave of rain that came through just collapsed the garage roof.
Just a plastic sheet shelters the home. It's littered with dangling lights, fans and wires, the kids' toys covered in plaster.
As a dad, you've got to try not to break down in front of your kids, but it's really... You've got to stay strong for them, but at the same time, it's really hard to do.
As the pair start to sift through their belongings.
Insurance assessors will be out here tomorrow to create a plan of how to repair the Craig's home. While that happens, the family is now trying to find a new place to rent around Pacific Pines.
We've got a few places to look at on Monday, so fingers crossed.
Friends have set up a GoFundMe.
I can't even begin to say, how grateful I am that people have just come in and called us and said, what can we do?
Jordan Quinn, 7 Gold Coast News.
Now to Jordan Quinn, and the clean-up is also happening across our city's sports fields.
Steve, all but 3 remain closed because many are still quite wet and damaged. One of the hardest hit was the Ormeau Bulldogs AFL club, where the fencing and fields were smashed by the floods. Council has been out inspecting the fields to begin repair works, as many clubs will be starting pre-season training very soon. But the Mayor, he's hesitant about opening them too early.
I'm not in the rush to jump the gun and start using the field while it still hasn't recovered.
There are now $5,000 grants available for sporting clubs. Steve, they have until the end of March to apply.
OK, Jordan Quinn reporting there. Much to the relief of residents, thunderstorms didn't reach the Gold Coast today. To Laura Dymock. And Laura, we just saw some showers a short time ago.
And they were pretty light, Steve, only a few millimetres in them, though we could see some more light falls tonight. If we look at the radar, the storms moved in from the southeast in the afternoon. Talabudra picked up 1 millimetre. Tomorrow there's a very slim chance of a storm again, but the forecast has them staying further inland just as they did today. I'll have the rest of the day's weather soon, Steve.
Yeah, all important information. Thank you, Laura Dymock there. The race is on to clear debris and fix damaged buildings before local students head back to school. Gold Coast leaders say it's essential families can soon return to a routine.
This is Oxenford State School. Trees are down, branches piled high, right across the schoolyard.
I'm expecting that every principal of any school that's been affected will be contacting their school community.
Trees are still on buildings and in the car park. Part of a roof has collapsed. Next door, a childcare centre damaged too.
Damaged fences and kindergartens don't mix.
Across the M1 at Helensvale State School, the basketball court fence is mangled, tables destroyed. Part of a roof crushed by the weight of a fallen tree.
About 20 schools on the Gold Coast have suffered some damage of some kind. There's only 2, Helensvale and Coomera, which have actually suffered significant damage.
In Coomera, sporting equipment was picked up and thrown by the Christmas Day tornado.
Crews have a mountain of work to get through before school starts on the 22nd of January to make sure it's safe for students to come back.
We need kids in uniform with their books being able to go to school day one.
In Coomera, part of the admin building is broken, one of many places with a long list of repairs.
A lot of independent and private schools as well, so we'll be working with them and also with the state
to make sure learning can continue.
And now to Sam Payne. And Sam, a major Gold Coast attraction will be closed for some time.
Yes, Steve, Topgolf lovers will have to wait until the first week of February until they can return for a hit. Today, crews were in cranes up to 50 metres in the air, undertaking a mammoth task to unclip all the netting that was ripped apart by the tornado. The outfield also sustained damage and there was leaks inside the building. The reason for the 4-week delay is because the net is too damaged and a new one will have to be shipped from the United States.
Sam Payne reporting there in Oxenford. To other news now, and thrill seekers are being rescued from a roller coaster at Movie World. Liam Bland is there now, and Liam, how long have they been up there?
Steve, they've been stuck for over an hour. There's still a handful of thrill seekers on board the DC Riders Hypercoaster, one of the tallest in the Southern Hemisphere. The carriage is stopped 50 metres above the ground. Movie World says the ride was halted after an operator spotted a scarf wrapped around one of the wheels on the train. It's a delicate process to get them all off safely. Staff have to put harnesses on each passenger, then help them climb off the carriage one by one and descend a set of emergency stairs. Movie World says their staff train for these situations, and incidents like this is why loose items aren't permitted on the ride.
Yeah, certainly a nervous time. Liam Bland reporting there from Oxenford. We'll take a break. Coming up, the sudden spike in mosquitoes when the spraying blitz will get underway in your suburb. And the magic arrives as the Gold Coast's biggest race event begins. Disaster assistance has been extended across the Gold Coast local government area. It adds a further 18 suburbs where residents can apply for personal hardship payments. Added areas include Broadbeach, Mermaid Waters and Surfers Paradise. You can find a full list on the 7 Gold Coast News Facebook page. This year's council election is set for a showdown over light rail and large infrastructure projects. Save Our Southern Gold Coast President Kath Down has launched her campaign for councillor in Division 14.
This is the way we can take it forward, and I will not be doing it in a fearful fashion.
Gail O'Neill is the current councillor. The election will be on March the 16th. A mass of mosquitoes are taking over the Gold Coast. Council has started a spraying blitz to avoid even more of the pest breeding.
A walk in the park quickly becomes a mozzie dodging mission.
Exactly why we're leaving. It's just crazy. Like, just hundreds, thousands.
In Labrador, the pests have become a huge problem.
We're expecting to be bitten by the mosquitoes, and we got repellent, we got everything.
In Ormeau, the recent heavy rain and pools of water are creating a breeding ground.
You know, with all the rain, the larvae are out, and so we've, with the mozzie spray, it's designed to kill all the larvae.
An aerial assault began today in Coomerabar wetlands. Close signs are up. The council has been on the ground spraying, but it was too late for some.
This morning and tomorrow as well, here.
Aerial spraying will continue tomorrow, targeting mosquito larvae in suburbs from Steiglitz in the north down to Arundel in the south. This sporting field in Ormeau, a known hotspot for mozzies, when braving it means extra protection.
Yeah, we've stocked up a little bit more than usual.
Some residents say this season is the worst mosquitoes have ever been on the Gold Coast.
Compared to previous years, it's not real good.
A battle that's only getting started. Danielle Bowen, 7 Gold Coast News.
Magic is returning to the Gold Coast with the biggest horse racing carnival about to start. Big names like Billy Slater, his wife Nicole, and professional polo players Delphi and Nacho Figueres have arrived in town for the Magic Millions.
We know that the Gold Coast had been having a few rough weeks, so we hope that this event will bring a lot of joy and excitement back to the Gold Coast.
Absolutely. General admission tickets are still available to the week-long event. Coming up tonight in sport, the famous battle between surfing legends and rising stars set for Burleigh Heads. What's got Toby Price fired up to take out a third Dakar rally?
When it happens,
when it matters,
you will know.
The Army has finally arrived, continuing to work to restore power for more than 6,000.
At 6 p.m. every night,
we're right here to make sense of it all.
Holidaymakers have returned in droves.
Flames rip along the runway.
You'll always know the news with 7 News.
Surfers will be competing for glory over prize money this weekend when the iconic Single Fin Classic returns to Burleigh Heads. Some of the sports legends will be up against the hottest up-and-comers to claim the 27th title.
These Burleigh board riders know their local break like the back of their hand.
Been surfing Burleigh for like ages since I was 6, so it's just
good having a comp here.
But when it comes to surfing on a board older than they are.
It's just different. You can just get so much speed and you can kind of do whatever you want on them.
They're pretty old and hard to surf. I think it's more just the history and the heritage of all the boards. You'll see people with all sorts of iconic surfboards shaped by really iconic people.
The Single Fin Classic returns to Burleigh Heads this weekend for its 27th year. One of the best local products and current championship tour surfer Liam O'Brien is yet to have his name carved on the trophy.
A lot of pretty big names that have won it before, so it'd be nice to get on there.
Liam's never won it, made the finals, and I reckon he's due. I'd put some money on him.
Heats will be held tomorrow before finals on Sunday.
Cole Robertson and Parker have won it 3. No one's won it 4, so Parker will be keen to get his name in the record books there.
And there's just one rule that applies. Each surfer must ride a single fin surfboard made before 1985.
The beauty of it is, it's not money up for grabs, it's just those beautiful custom designed surfboards. It's about the glory and the surfboard and just the fun of the weekend.
Savannah Burke, 7 Gold Coast News.
To cricket, and the Brisbane Heat will be taking inspiration from their next opponents, the Hobart Hurricanes. Last night against the Renegades, Gold Coaster Ben McDermott put the big in Big Bash.
Oh, he swung hard. That's going to hit the roof, is it? Not far away. Or did it? I think it's stuck up there.
Stuck up there, Al. That's incredible.
Magnificent. The Heat's Gold Coast bowlers are back in action on Sunday, live and free on the screens of 7. Toby Price will be gunning for a 3rd Dakar Rally crown when the Helensvale motorcycle rider returns to Saudi Arabia tomorrow. The 36-year-old's back with a vengeance after falling short by just 43 seconds last year, the narrowest margin in history. This year, there's 7,000 kilometres of desert racing across 12 stages. He's got history on his side. Price has placed 6 out of 9 attempts. Yeah, one of the toughest races on earth. Ahead in 7 News at 6, button battery warning. A mum's mission to protect Gold Coast toddlers as unsafe toys are pulled from shelves.
And I'll have the weather forecast and a look at beach conditions for the weekend. That's next.
The Gold Coast is making the switch to 7 News, and we want you to be a part of it. If there's a local issue that needs attention or something's happening in your suburb, in your street, we want to know about it. Give us a call, send us a message, or drop us an email.
And we always look forward to hearing from you. Now, more on the disaster cleanup ahead. 7 News at 6. For a preview, here's Samantha Heathwood.
Steve, more incredible stories are emerging from inside the storm disaster zone. We have the latest on the cleanup race at 6, plus new names exposed as the second batch of Jeffrey Epstein documents are released. See a food delivery rider's frightening crash, why homeowners considering renovating should do it now. A curious twist as David Warner's missing baggy greens are returned, and how a team defeated Tetris with a game-ending glitch. All the details in just a few minutes.
Catch you then, Sam. The weekend is upon us. Laura Dymock, will the weather be kind for those cleaning up?
Well, Steve, the coast is unlikely to see a storm tomorrow, but showers are sticking around. Just like today, they shouldn't be too heavy, but will start earlier in the day. At the moment, it's 26 degrees in Coolangatta, which picked up the bare minimum of just 0.2 of a millimetre in the gauge this afternoon. Again, the sea breeze was our saviour today, and it got quite fresh at times. Tops of 29 by the water, 23 to 29 for Burleigh Heads. Yatala was the warmest spot, getting up to 31. Our weather at the moment is being influenced by a high in the Bight, which is sending the onshore flow our way. Tomorrow, the winds will strengthen and it should remain quite gusty all weekend before easing on Monday. Those onshore winds are bringing lots of moisture and the scattered showers continue tomorrow. Falls will start in the morning and peak in the afternoon. They shouldn't be too heavy, a couple of millimetres or maybe more around the border ranges. Coomera heading for a top of 27 degrees, 27 also for Coolangatta. Wet weather and windy conditions should keep maximum slightly below average. 21 tonight to a top of 27 for the start of the weekend. On our waters tomorrow, southeasterlies will get up to 25 knots, low tide just after 10 a.m. Looking further ahead, showers should clear on Sunday for a partly cloudy but fine day. Then wet weather makes a return from Monday and we could see some light falls sticking around through the week. Now let's get a look at beach conditions for the weekend.
Small but clean waves were on offer on the coast today, with the best quality on the southern points. This was at Burleigh, mid-morning. Not surprisingly, for the summer holidays, quite a crowd in the lineup. Up to a metre on the sets through here. Duranbar will have some more size, but the southeasterly winds will strengthen tomorrow, so you'll need to be onto it very early. Otherwise, pack your patience and join the crowds in the building swell at any of the southern Gold Coast points across the weekend. Swimmers, stick to patrolled beaches. The water is warm at around 25 degrees. If you're keen for a fish, it might be best to avoid the rivers and creeks after recent flooding, but the water movement should have mud crabs on the move, so it could be worth setting up some crab pots. Or try your luck for some spotty mackerel at Palm Beach Reef, thanks to the Boat Shed, Bait, Tackle and Boat Hire and Coast Watch.
Well, despite those showers, I think the beaches will still be busy tomorrow. Steve?
Yeah, it sounds like it's going to be all right. Thanks very much for that, Laura. And that's the Gold Coast News for what has been a massive week. Thank you for watching. All the best to those who will continue cleaning up over the weekend. Stay safe. We'll be back again on Monday at 5:30. 7 News at 6 with Samantha Heathwood is next. Bye for now.